Welcome to Conversations on the Block. I'm your host, Pat Robinson. So, Tri-State, today I waste no time in jumping into this conversation as I'm honored to be joined by the founders of Left Fielder Media, a future tech and storytelling company that brings dynamic characters to life, shares captivating stories, and creates immersive lore that extends beyond traditional mediums. Join us at the forefront of modern storytelling and innovation is a line that exists on their website. Their mission is to create products and experiences in collaboration with global entities to serve an audience too often overlooked. They are committed to presenting the authenticity at the highest level to showcase cultural perspectives. Cole is an award-winning actor and the co-founder of Left Fielder Media, a media tech company specializing in development and infrastructure that emphasizes innovative storytelling. Left Fielder extends into industries such as the metaverse, blockchain, gaming, film, TV, fashion, exhibitions, immersive and live event experiences. Dom is also a global entrepreneur, music supervisor, creative developer, and writer and producer. Tri-State, I'm going to have to take a breath because these guys are phenomenal. And then we jump to Stephen Philms, who's an award-winning creative director and co-founder of Left Fielder Media, a media tech company also specializing in the same infrastructure, emphasizing in the innovative and storytelling space. So welcome to the show, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Let's start with you, Dom. Why was this created? Tell us about the media tech studio. What was the idea behind Left Fielder Media?
Yeah, so just a little backstory. I've known Stephen my whole life pretty much. We both grew up in Atlanta, Georgia, South Side, and we've always been creative, and we've both had our separate journeys in the industry, and we've always been kind of co-collaborating on projects. And once we got back together as older men, we were like, let's do something together. We've always been kind of futurist, always had a different mindset. We've always been interested in like sci-fi kind of concepts. Mm-hmm. And we were like, let's start a company. Let's do this together. Let's build a startup together.
Awesome. And then, so talk to me about, there's an overall deal with Neon. Talk to us about what this deal with Neon is and what that means for your organization and the shift of what that means in the industry.
So Neon is a gaming studio that is a AAA gaming studio. Mm-hmm. They were spun out of HBO, and they were Emmy award-winning, BAFTA award-winning as well. The CEO, Mark Long, I've met him during the year of COVID, okay. And we built a strong relationship, and we built some projects for them, and then we ended up getting an overall deal on this new game they got called Shrapnel. Shrapnel is a first-person shooter game, and it extends into these different types of worlds. It's like a futuristic, fun game. It's set in 2038, and basically our company, we're developing all the infrastructure and all the characters, the aesthetic, that'll be used in the game. So we built a family in the game called Hassan Calloway, the Callaways, which is an arms dealing family. So we're super proud of that. We went to Comic-Con last year, spoke at a panel, and we'll be back at Comic-Con this year as well. So that's just like what it is in short.
That's awesome. And so, Stephen, tell us about the Member 16 Immersive Project.
Yes, so Member 16, it's I would say it's the flagship project coming from Left Fielder Media. So along with our overall deal, we're focused on telling future-based innovative stories. So Member 16 is focused on the evolution of the space industry and what that looks like authentically from our perspective. So we're taking, exciting characters and putting you in a world where basically space exploration is as easy as booking a flight. So imagine in the near future, if you wanted to just orbit Earth, you can book a ticket and go do that. So that's the world that we're going to exist in. And we're creating all this high-tech drama and fun and suspense in this new world. So, and we're excited to say that one of the actors that we have signed on to the project is Gail B. She's from Snowfall at P-Valley. So she's already signed on to help us build this project. And we're super excited about it.
That's awesome. And so for people who are listening that are taking this in for the first time and kind of understanding what Left Fielder Media is about, talk to us about like the process when you all are very creative in this space and you have these visions and these storyboards. When you're going into organizations and dealing with companies, how easy or hard is it to talk about the cultural perspective and like making sure that the interconnection of the cultural perspective meets technology? Tell us about that process And is that an easy sell? Is that talk to us about that?
Okay. Well, I would say selling. I would say selling ideas and who we are and our authenticity and our authenticity. I think we've gotten better at doing that.
Okay.
I will say that this transition in media has been helpful a little bit because there's so many different avenues and platforms to get the work done. So we did recognize that in gaming, there's this evolution that's happening within the storytelling industry that we're able to come in and see that gaming is being built the same way the film industry is being built, and these stories can cross media. So as we're pitching, ourselves, and as we're pitching these stories, there's so many different avenues for them to land. So we have more listening ears, and it does make it a little easier, but it's always there's still those challenges to
I would even say retaining our cultural perspective is it's not hard, but it's definitely communication is key, and we really hope to be that bridge and to bridge that gap between our culture and mainstream culture as you have it, So that can have some challenges with the communication, but overall, like Stephen said, it's getting easier with all these mediums you can kind of enter in and kind of establish IP.
Yeah, because what you're doing is really innovative. It's cool. But, when I think about it, whether it's a pitch or a game or a AI situation, but it's our story. It's our life, right?
Absolutely.
This is us. And so when we get in front of people, it's almost like we're trying to show you that this is our lifestyle. And so how much of that do you take into when you're talking to people to really, because we shouldn't have to influence them. Like, this is our lifestyle. We're building around our lifestyle, and we want you to not just purchase the project. We want you to care about the outcome of what we're trying to achieve. Do you use that as a point within your pitch?
Yeah. So what we like to say and what we stand by is, what we like to do is to make sure that our audience understands that we're baked into the process. Yeah. We're not an afterthought. We make sure that we're coming in and we're infused in every aspect. So you're not going to go build a project or build a story and then bring us in after. We're in from the ground up, and we're making sure that we're creating thoughtful, intentional stories reflective of who we actually are, and we care about that. We want everyone to know that even from a global perspective, we're taking our time and considering how characters are dressed, what communication style they're using, what accent do they have, how is their hair. We're extremely thoughtful with what that looks like, and we understand with the shift in technology how we can think about if there's a 5-year-old watching this and, attention spans are shorter and we have more immersive content coming. So it's not just us creating content for one screen or a big screen. We're thinking about creating content that you can actually experience, even at home or even in arenas.
Yeah. And thank you for sharing that. And if you're just joining, you're listening to Pat Robinson on Conversations on the Block. We're talking to the founders of Left Fielder Media, Cole and Stephen Philms. So I was on the website and I came across Casey Jones, Detroit year 2045. And I was blown away. Tell the audience about that. I didn't understand what was happening, but I just felt like I got to stay here. Talk to us about that.
That is a project in our development tank right now. But Stephen, you can kind of give some teasers for it.
Yeah. So for us, we grew up in extreme Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles fans, and there's this character that's an offbeat character in that franchise. His name is Casey Jones, but within that franchise, his name is spelled Casey, Casey. But we understand that, if you look at the Miles Morales story, if you look at even The Little Mermaid, there's room for us to put our, spin on these stories that are established. So Casey Jones is a character that we are reimagining, that we can begin to do comics for and tell more immersive stories around a character that is in Detroit, is in the near future, and it's based on an alternate universe coming out of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle universe. And it's kind of how we see it and how we want to build it.
Yeah. So Tri-State, if you have
Yeah.
not been there, and Dom, hold on. If you have not been, you need to get over to Left Fielder Media and check out this website. You will be blown away. Go ahead, Dom. You wanted to say something.
No. And I was just gonna say it's super cool because you get a black dude playing hockey, and that's
Yeah.
Right,
you don't get
right,
to see that too much. So that's really dope.
right, right.
And so now let's talk about Kyoka. Am I saying that correctly?
That's correct.
Yes, that's
All right.
correct.
Tell
Yeah,
us
yeah,
tell us
wow.
tell us about Kyoka,
we're
because
not
that's
we're not
another
used to
hot one.
that.
Talk to us about that.
Kyoka is a fun project we're working on. It's an ex athlete who used to be great back in the day, and but he had an injury.
Mm.
And one day he's working at we're from Atlanta, so one day he's working at a stadium in Atlanta, and two criminals put a new type of drug in his trunk
Mm.
when they were running away from the cops. And he comes out and he sees this when he comes off of work, he sees this opportunity to either put it back where he found it or misplace it, or take it to a black market type of situation where he can kind of sell it off and make a big score for him and his daughter. So it's
Mm-hmm.
like this cross country story where you go from Atlanta all the way to the West Coast, and criminals are chasing him for this new type
Mm.
of drug. So if you think about like Limitless or things
Mm-hmm.
like that, it has that type of vibe to it. And so there'll be some fun things there. There'll be some gaming elements there, some card type of gaming elements in there, some immersive experience as well with that project.
Yeah,
So
this
that's
is
one of my
great.
favorite things we're working on right now too. Yeah.
Yeah, it screams across the screen. I'm like, wow, this is, I don't know what's coming our way, but this is amazing. So, what you all are doing, have you considered film?
Well,
Our
yeah,
background is film. Our background is film. I was a winner at ABFF in 2017 for a movie called Soulfire.
Mm.
Um, Steven's been a director for a while, for a long time. Some of my movies have been placed on Amazon Prime, Apple TV. So,
Amazing.
I am an actor. So, I wear multiple
Wow.
hats. So, yeah. So, yes,
right.
So, those projects I've acted in, and I have a project coming up this summer that I'm actually acting in Shrapnel's live action short. So
That's
those will be fun. We're
amazing.
working with Jerry O'Flattery. I think he's worked on a lot of projects with Warner Brothers and Talking, and right now we're working with I think the guy who's doing the stunts worked on John Wick.
Love it.
So we're excited about that. So definitely, film is our core.
Yeah,
That's
so
what
I
we
that's the
love
focus
it.
on.
core.
That's
I love
So
it.
that's our core because I've had my work solo exhibit at the Black Museum of the Arts in New York,
Amazing.
and in that role with the live action shorts, I'll be doing some the fashion creative direction. So with the film and the fashion, it's been a hybrid for us because we actually did New York Fashion Week as well, and Dom did the music. Dom didn't mention his music side as well, so we have
Love it.
fashion,
Love it. Love it.
music, and the creative direction. So we've always been collaborating, but the approach to everything that we're doing is it's gonna have a cross media approach. So there's a film, there's gaming, and there's comics, and there's different ways to engage with what we're doing. And film is the foundation to all of that.
And I applaud the both of you for the work that you're doing. You have a lot of people here today, parents, people that are listening that have young adults that are kind of trying to figure out their path in their careers. Tell me how, I know what you're doing in terms of Left Fielder Media, but tell me how you reach back and how you can share, if you have the opportunity to share your skill set, and how do you kind of cultivate the next generation from a workforce perspective?
I mean, so that's one thing that's it's extremely important for us. And we've I've done work. I've actually been able to go back to. I went to the Art Institute, and I've also done some studies abroad. I've been able to go back and speak, to the schools, to the kids, and inform and educate about that. And also, we get a lot of emails, and we do a lot of responses back and forth to people to ask us, what are steps to take, and how can we like break in.
Yeah.
And one thing me and Dom always talk about is understanding like the technology and the shift in the industry,
Mm-hmm.
and making sure like what your aspirations are
Mm-hmm.
fitting to where the industry is projected to be in the next 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of times what you may want could be something that's essentially phasing out, and that's how a lot of us tend to get behind when we talk about ownership and creating things that we can have, for ourselves. So that's the one thing that we're really focused on, and that was the idea behind it.
That's awesome.
Well, also, we're taking actionable steps too, Patricia. Look, we have a venture we're working on at Left Field, Left Field Media Ventures. That will be a DAO structure where we'll be investing into projects that the community votes on. So eventually we'll get into that phase and we can roll out that plan for everybody. But basically what that looks like is people will get together and go, oh, wow, that's a really project that this person is doing over here. And we all vote together and then we put a fund together and we fund those projects. So that's like an actionable step that Left Field will be doing here in the future, is investing back into the community that way.
And there's one more thing too, Don. We didn't, we've had some talks about like business financing and creative entrepreneurship ideas related to like people in the arts, because a lot of times those information, when you think about like financial literacy, or when you think about how institutions give that information, they really focus on the business minded career fields versus the artistic career fields. So we've been developing some ideas with different institutions about how we can cater that to people who have, artistic talents and who have aspirations to do music and film and writing, and how they can make sure they're structured as a operative startup or small business. Because a lot of times artists were so focused on the creative, but not understanding that we can make the creative a lot easier for ourselves if we understand just the first steps to entrepreneurship and the business side of it as well.
No, and I appreciate you sharing that. You guys have so much to offer. You're wise and you have multiple hats. And the reason I asked that question is because, just sitting, I've been doing community work for a really long time, and, I can kind of see both sides of it. And, I see where there are, filmmakers that will come in the neighborhood and they'll film the films and they'll showcase the streets and all of the neighborhood, and they'll bring the audience directly into the screens and everything. And we tune in because we're loyal like that. But then the reinvestment back into community is almost non-existent. But we are the loyal ones that continue to push and to keep the projects going. And, when we look at the lifestyle issues that are happening from a public safety perspective across the world, but, especially in New York, our young people are craving for opportunities to learn. They're craving to get in these spaces, such as the spaces that you all are in. So I'm always like challenging leaders, not particularly you, but just challenging leaders to say, well, what are you doing where your boots are on the ground, physically on the ground, and we're giving back from a reinvestment standpoint. So thank you for sharing that. And I'm glad to hear that that's coming. So you guys are you guys are doing legacy work, right? So your work will live far beyond generations. And that's a good thing. What do you want? Tell me, what do you want to be remembered? Like, what do you want Left Field Media to represent? How do you want it to make a difference?
We have a mantra we live by at Left Field Media. It's called Design the Future and Reclaim the Past.
Love it.
Which means there's this wonderful Chris Rock quote we love to say in the studio. It's just, the future is always better for Black folks. So, it's like, and so, we live by that. Like, we want to design our future. We want to, we dream like architects and scientists and engineers and those things, but we also want to reclaim our stories. And that was one of the first things we did when we started our company. We actually acquired a story about these Black bicyclers, these Buffalo Soldiers bicyclers back in the day. Basically, it was about bicycle. They were doing these experiments with these bicyclers, where they were trying to experiment with them taking place of horse cavalry, and they rode from Montana all the way to like the Yellowstone. And so that was the first thing we did. We want to get our old stories and kind of retell those things in a different way, in a new light. So that's what we want to be remembered for, is like telling the future, but also never forgetting where we come from. And that's, if I'm saying that right, Stephen, you can kind of
and I will also say, we stay on top of each other about making sure to be unashamed to say when people ask us what you want to be. We want to be the next wave of business. We want to be the next wave of these companies that have impact on your childhood through your entire life. We want to create the experiences and the stories that keep you entertained and bring you happiness and joy and innovation through through whatever you're experiencing, it, whether it's movies, television, gaming experiences. That's what we look at. So when people say, "What do you want?" Left Field Media, that's what we're aiming for. So we are aiming high.
I absolutely love both of the answers. And so, in addition to you all doing what you do, being creative, wearing multiple hats, pitching, doing everything that you do, you also have to hone in your skill set because technology is ever changing and you have to stay in this space where you're continuously getting your skill set. Tell me about how that process looks for you guys.
Yeah, I mean, we both, to tell you the truth, we're both workaholics. It's a nonstop thing. It's just, and we love it. And because we love it, it means something, and where we're coming from, I think that matters, We are from Southside, Atlanta, Clayton County, and that means something. Every opportunity we've had, we've maximized. And
I love
that means something to both me and Stephen, and we don't take nothing for granted. So we squeeze everything out of everything that we can do, and that's just what we do. So we love this work, like we're in it,
I love it.
So
I love it. Now, do y'all get tired of each other? Do y'all take a break?
We met fighting, so that we met fighting on the basketball court. So
is that true?
We brothers. Yeah. Tell her, bro. We met fighting on the basketball court. That's how our friendship started, man. It's a brotherly bond, man. Steve's mom knows my mom, and our sisters play ball together, and it's deep. So if we have our days, of course, but there ain't never it's no business that's gonna break my bond with people. It's always, we have a mantra here too: good people over good business over here. So it's never gonna be that ever.
I love it. I had to throw it in there. Go ahead, Stephen.
And I'll piggyback on that. I mean, and there's one thing that we've both taken the time to have a conversation about, because we can talk about business and our goals all day, but if we're not talking about like how we are as men and how we're getting better every day, then that's the most important thing. So we've both taken time to make sure that we're doing better for ourselves emotionally and mentally, so that we can communicate clearly to ourselves, to each other, to our friends, to our family, and that impacts how we communicate in business. So when we're feeling away, we know when to communicate that, so that there's no miscommunication for what we're doing. So we've both done that work that you have to do as men, so that you're just better every day in everything and every aspect that you're doing. If you're better for yourself, you can be better for everyone else.
I love it. And so, I love talking to you guys. The synergy is great. I love the work that you're doing. Left Fielder Media, if you are listening, you should go on the website. Share with the Tri-State how they can support you, follow you, any projects that you want them to align with before we wrap up.
Yeah, I think if you go on our website, you can join our sign-up wait list and see what we're working on. And that's the best way. You can follow our social media. We're at LSM Global on Twitter. We're at Left Field Media on Instagram. And we'll have some new things coming there soon. So if you really want to see what we're doing, the best way to do is sign up for our email list. That's where we blast out everything that we're working on.
Awesome. So listen. So I saw Casey Jones. I saw Keoka. They're both men, right? Both men.
Right.
Okay. So where the ladies at? Okay, y'all gonna need to get together and get that in queue.
Well, we have Gail Bean. Gail Bean starring in Member 16.
Okay.
Gail Bean is starring in Member 16.
Yeah.
That's the first project up. That's the flagship.
Right. That's the first.
Oh, that's the flagship. That's our big project.
Okay. All right. I just had to speak up for the sisters.
and I'll say this: our next comic that's coming with our overall deal that we're going to be introducing at Comic-Con, our leading character, and that is a woman. The lead lady, she's tough, she's smart, and got a great time creating that character. So I'm excited about that too.
Wonderful. Well, I just have to say that you guys are a pleasure. I'm very excited about the work that's going on. A lot of people, we live in a world of information overflow. There's so much going on. And when people prioritize what is important and what they're taking in, sometimes we miss these grandiose things that are happening. So I'm so glad to have connected into both you, Dom, and Stephen. Huge fan of what you're doing. You are more than welcome. You have a platform here. Please keep us posted. We are very interested. And when you come to Comic-Con, Where is that happening this year? What state?
That'll be San Diego,
San
California.
Diego.
California. Yeah.
Got it. So if you are planning on going to Comic-Con, please make sure that you go to Left Field of Media. I want to thank you for joining the show. I appreciate your time and your effort, and we're paying attention to what's going on because this is some great work that you guys are doing.
No, we appreciate
Thanks
that.
for having us. We appreciate you. And we love what you're doing too. It was amazing to see what you're doing.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for joining the show. So there you have it, Tri-State. As we wrap, we give honor and respect to founders like Dom Cole and Stephen Philms, who are taking the evolution of technology and infusing our Black existence forward so that it may not be forgotten at every corner and height of the world. Hey, they're going as far as putting this into a space evolution. So listen, I want to thank you for tuning in. I'm going to invite you all the time to follow me at Convos on the Block on Instagram. You already know. You can email me at patricia.robinson1@odyssey.com. And you, by now, you should have downloaded the Odyssey app because I just want you to take us everywhere you go. Come on back next week. We are taking this show to the next level. And when I say we, that means me, the host, and you, my loyal listeners, my loyal friends. So, yes, we're taking this to new heights. So we're going to be talking to people in state, out of state. We're going to be touching on things, and I want you to be a part of it. I want you to get new information. I want you to be inspired. I want you to have aha moments, and I want you to self-reflect. So I appreciate you always. Please join me back here, same time next week. Same host. Be well and take care.